Welcome to Lola's Frugal Life Podcast. If you're on a mission to be more frugal with both your time and money, you're in the right place. In this podcast, we talk about topics that help enhance living a frugal lifestyle. The goal is to save time and money where we can so that we can use the rest on what matters most to us. We talk a lot about both time and money management so that we can waste as little as possible on both. We do this while also embracing a progress over perfection mindset. If that sounds good to you, then please stick around for the latest episode right after a few quick words from our sponsor. Hi everyone, welcome back to Lola's Frugal Life Podcast. Today we are going to be talking about being frugal with your time. Just like we're frugal with our money, we want to be frugal with our time because our time is limited. So before we start talking about the topic, just really quick, life update, nothing really to share, same as last week, nothing really new going on. We are kind of actively trying to find a car for my youngest daughter. I may have mentioned that before, but other than that, not that much going on. And as far as my loving lately, I'm going to say that that is going to be my fresh flower bouquet that I made that's on my kitchen table with zinnias that I grew. It's the second bouquet that I made, and this one came out really, really nice. I kind of cut the flowers a little bit better. I had them kind of short last time, and it was cute and everything, but this one came out really nice. So I'm really loving that. I've been growing zinnias for the last couple years and started, well, actually, I've been growing them for a while, but the last couple years I actually started making bouquets with the flowers, like using it like a cutting garden. So I'm really loving that. It just looks so nice to have like these nice fresh flowers, and they didn't really cost anything because half of the seeds that I grew were ones I saved for free from last year's flowers. So that's kind of cool. I'm definitely really loving that right now. As far as reading, reminder, I feel like I do this every single episode, but again, it's the beginning of the month. So if you are a Prime member and you like to choose a free book through the First Reads program, just a reminder that it's time to do that now. I just like to tell you guys that at the beginning of every month because if you like to read books for free, it's a good way to accumulate some books. If you're a slow reader like me, I am accumulating and accumulating. I have so many books in there. I feel like I have an unlimited supply to read from. So go get your free book if you're a Prime member through the First Reads book program. As far as right now, I haven't finished anything new yet. I just started listening to The Dry by Janet Harper. It has a Goodreads rating of 4.06. The very brief description that's given is in the grip of the worst drought in a century, the farming community of Kiwara is facing life and death choices daily when three members of a local farm are found brutally slain. So it's like a murder mystery book. I like those kind of books. So far, it's pretty good. Probably only about a quarter of a way through it, but that's what I'm listening to right now. My favorite meal this week was pulled chicken. It's so easy to make in the crock pot. It's just like pulled pork, but I use chicken. I mix it up. Sometimes I'll do pulled pork, but this time I did pulled chicken. I make it with boneless chicken thighs, and you just put it in the crock pot in the morning and let it cook all day. And it's so easy at night. Just put out some rolls or whatever and make sandwiches. I use the McCormick pulled pork seasoning package, and you basically just mix that with, I think it's like ketchup, brown sugar, and maybe vinegar. I forget the exact things you have to add, but it's only a couple things. You mix it up, pour it over the chicken, and it cooks all day, and it's so easy, and everybody really loved it. If you like a like pulled pork or pulled chicken that's not like that like super sweet barbecue sauce, this is a really good one. It's kind of more on the mild side. It's not like that really thick, sugary barbecue sauce. It's more like mild. So we really like that. But today, like I said, I wanted to talk about being frugal with your time. So just like we get the most out of our money when we budget and manage it well, the same thing can be said about our time. There's things we could do to increase the amount of money that we have, but there's nothing that we could do to increase our amount of time. So it's even more important to make sure that we manage it well. And even if we put some effort into making the most of our time, we can accomplish things that we would not have thought we could. Just like we might find ways we're wasting money when we really start to track our spending, we can find ways we're wasting our time when we really start to look at what we're doing with our time. And sometimes, just like we need to cut things out of our budget when we feel like they're not the best use of our money, we might need to cut some things out of our schedule when we feel like they're not the best use of our time. So, it's not something that you can make perfect in an instant, just like budgeting. It's very similar to thinking about how we manage our money to how we manage our time. But even if you just do a little bit at a time and really look at where your time is going and get a little bit extra value out of that time over the course of time, it's going to really have an impact on your life. So, what you want to do is just really kind of start by thinking about what's most important to you. What would you really like to do more of, but you often tell yourself you don't have time for? Budgeting your time is not to be able to get as many tasks done as possible. That's not the purpose of managing our time. We're not trying to be like the most productive human on the planet, but you want to be able to make sure that you're doing what you want to do with your time. Yes, some of that's going to be productive things like work and cleaning and those types of things we want to do. But I feel like sometimes we wind up cramming all of that in and then we don't make sure we have enough time for the other things that we really enjoy doing. So think about what it is you really want to get more time for in your day and be really intentional about doing that. And sometimes we have to just kind of make ourselves do things that we enjoy because we'll be happy we did it after. Like I know, for example, I've mentioned on the show before, I ride horses. So sometimes I usually go like at night after work to ride a couple days a week. And I know there's days where I had a really long day. I might be really tired. I got to cook dinner or whatever. I'm just like, I don't feel like doing anything else. And I might want to skip going to the barn. And I'll just be like, you know what? I'm not going to go today. I'm just going to sit and relax or whatever. And once in a while, that's fine. But whenever I do just push myself and be like, no, I'm just going to go, I'm always so happy I went. I could have easily told myself I didn't have the time. I was too tired. I'll do it another day. But when we make ourselves really take advantage of that time, obviously without pushing ourselves to exhaustion, but sometimes we just have to give ourselves a little push to take advantage and do something that we really love, and you'll always be happy that you did it. So just really be mindful of that and don't just always tell yourself you're too tired, you had too much of a busy day. Sometimes even if you just take like a half an hour to go do something enjoyable, it makes your day just feel like you got so much more out of it. Just like with budgeting our money, when we're budgeting our time, we need to be realistic. So most of us have a certain amount of time that's going to be taken up by priorities no matter what. So unless your plan is to become completely irresponsible for the things that are required of you, you're still going to have a limited amount of time to work with. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't take a look at your responsibilities and see what maybe might be able to be eliminated or something that maybe someone else can help you out with or something you could maybe do a little bit less of. But if you feel like the responsibilities you have are somewhat reasonable, then you only have that excess time to work with that is available when you're not doing things that you're responsible to take care of. So make sure that you're, taking those things into consideration. You can't probably say, I'm going to spend every evening and every weekend from morning till night just like relaxing or reading or going out, because you do have probably cleaning to do and dinner to cook and things like that. So just be realistic about the amount of time that you actually do have. And then you want to prioritize. Again, tying it back into money, when we budget our money, we usually have some things in the budget that we know we're going to have to cut if something more urgent comes up. Maybe if we find out we're spending more money on groceries, we might have to cut something else out to make up the difference. Same thing with our time. If something is really important to us and we're spending too much time on other things, we might have to cut something else out, even if we enjoy it, but we don't enjoy it as much as those other things that we really want to do that are more of a priority to us. So make a list of the things that you'd really like to do or get done, and maybe pick the top two or three that you'd either like to complete or make progress on, and just tackle those things. Really determine like what is most important to you. That could be a household task. It could be going out for a walk. It could be clipping your dog's nails. Who knows what it could be? It could be something fun. It could be something that you just need to get done as part of your life and maintaining your home. It could be making an appointment for an oil change. Prioritizing the tasks that you really want to get done in any given day is really important because there's always an unlimited amount of things that we can do. And if we can really focus on getting those most important things done, it makes much better use of our time than just kind of getting things done that are just kind of easy to check off a list and making ourselves feel good by checking off some boxes, even though maybe it wasn't what was most important to us. And then, of course, we need to plan some time for rest. We all know that we need to include money in our budgets for doing things that we enjoy. So it's not just about like paying bills, you're saving up money too. It's the same thing with rest. You don't want to just plan for getting things done and going out and doing whatever activities that you're doing in your life. You also want to make sure that you have time for rest because if you aren't rested and you're just pushing yourself too much and you're exhausted, even when you are doing things or getting things done, you're either not doing them probably as well as you could, and if you're out doing something you enjoy, maybe you're not enjoying it as much as you could be if you were well rested. So make sure that you prioritize rest and sleep because that'll just make your other time that you have available even better. So, one thing that I really like to do is plan to do something if you have some time off. Sometimes when we have time off, we might want to just leave the day fully open and whatever happens, happens. And for some people that works really well, but it doesn't really work for me because I feel like what winds up happening is if I have a day off and I don't plan anything to do with that day, the day will just feel like it got wasted away at the end of the day. Maybe I'll walk around, pick up a thing or two, wipe down something, go outside, pick a few weeds, who knows, whatever, and just kind of like waste the day away. But if you have kind of like some type of plan for the day, and it doesn't have to be a rigid plan that you're like working all day or doing everything from minute to minute, but it's just kind of like, maybe you want to go to a park that day, or maybe you want to reorganize a closet or sort through seasonal clothing. Maybe you want to make some appointments. Maybe you want to sit and read for an hour. It's kind of just like being intentional with that time and making sure that you use whatever that free time is to do something that you really want to do, whether that's accomplishing something or relaxing or reading or whatever. Um, Doing something with that time that's important to you and not just kind of letting the time waste away because it just doesn't feel good at the end of a day if we had time off and the day is over and we're like, oh, we didn't even really do anything. We just kind of like wandered away and the time just went by. So, really think about planning for what you want to do each day when you have some time available, or even what you're going to do at the end of each day after work, if you work in the day. Whenever you have some free time, think about something that you'd like to do with that time, whether that be something you want to accomplish or something you want to do for fun. It doesn't matter. It's more about really being intentional and doing the things that are most important to you with that time. Another thing you can do is track your time. So sometimes we think certain tasks take more time than they actually do. Just like we might spend more or less money on certain expenses, when we track them, we can see it, and then we really know how much we're spending on certain items. It's the same thing with our time. If you can track your time, obviously not on an ongoing basis, but just for a period of time, it can really help you with managing your time because you might think, oh, it only takes me 15 minutes to clean the bathroom, but really maybe it takes you a half hour. Or maybe you think it takes 15 minutes to load the dishes, but it really only takes 5. Having a good idea of how much time different things take can really help you plan out your day because you don't want to plan to go have fun in the afternoon and say, I'm going to clean in the morning and then I'm going to go do this in the afternoon. And then it turns out that the cleaning tasks that you planned to get done took way longer than you expected, and now you just ruined your afternoon. So it's really a good idea to kind of have an idea of the different things that you need to do in the day and how long they take to do. And the only way you can really do that is by tracking your time, at least for 1 or 2 times when you do those tasks, so that you kind of have a good idea of how much time certain things take. It can really help you plan out your day. And then, of course, block scheduling is always a great idea for being frugal with your time. I've also seen it referred to as time blocking, but this is basically where you block off sections of your day and you say what you're going to do in those sections. So, like, one might be like a cleaning block, and you're going to just, do house cleaning in that time. One might be for cooking, one might be for um, going in the pool and relaxing, spending some time outside. One might be for, I don't know, appointments for that day. Like if you have appointments, you want to block those out. It's really just kind of to keep you focused on a task or an activity in a certain amount of time so that you can get all the different things that you want to accomplish in the day. Like maybe you want to get cleaning done, but you also need to go to the grocery store and you also want to go for a walk at the park. You don't want to wind up spending like the entire day cleaning and then realizing you didn't get to get the groceries and you never got to go for that walk at the park. So you kind of like isolate the time for specific things you want to work on. And then when that time block is up, you're done and you move on to the next time block. So I really love doing block scheduling. I do it kind of lightly. I don't like have like specific, very specific, like, hour by hour. But I like to kind of block out like, okay, in the morning I'm going to do this, then we'll have lunch, then in the afternoon we'll do this, or maybe after work, I'll say, okay, I'm going to go to the bar and then I'm going to cook and then we'll sit and watch TV or whatever. Just kind of like having that little schedule can really help and really kind of help you with staying within those blocks of time to make sure that you're not just staying in one activity for the entire day and then not getting the other things done that you wanted to get done. And it really also helps you, like if you're trying to accomplish a bunch of different things, you can make some progress on various things rather than just starting one thing and spending the entire time that you have available in a day working on just that one thing. You can kind of make some progress on various different things at once, like within one day. And then, as always, very important, don't be a perfectionist. You can really waste a lot of time trying to get things just right without a whole lot of extra benefit. So, when we are perfectionists, we often procrastinate. So, if you're too worried about getting something done perfectly and you don't know how to get it done perfectly, then a lot of times you just won't do it at all. And then you'll waste time thinking about how you should be doing this thing, but you're not doing it because you don't know how to do it perfect. And then it just goes in a circle and we get nothing done. So if you can, if you struggle with that, just try to do something and move on. For example, my kitchen stove, it's like a white stovetop and it gets like stuff like burns onto it and it's really hard to clean. I have to take this like, what the heck is it? It's like this like hard, oh, I forget what the heck it's called. It's this thing that I have to like scrub it with and to like get things off. And I don't have time to like do that all the time. So it doesn't always look perfect. Sometimes I'll look at the stove and like one of the kids cooked and there's like crumbs all over it or whatever. And then I see like the burn spots and I'll think like, oh my God, I don't even want to bother with that because I can't get it fully clean. But if I just take a rag and I just wipe it down and get the crumbs off and wipe off what I can, even though there's still like marks on it that really need to be scrubbed to make it perfect, it's still way better to just wipe it down and make it look nice than to just be like, I can't even deal with that because I can't do it thoroughly. So just think about the benefit of doing something even though it's not done perfectly and really kind of, help that let that help you manage your time by just getting things done and say done is better than being perfect. So that's all I have to say about this topic today. I really hope you take a few minutes and think about how you might be able to manage your time better. Even if you just make one little step, it really makes a big difference. So thank you so much for listening, and I will see you back here next week.
So thank you for checking in for this podcast episode. And don't forget, you can always email me with any questions or suggestions at lolasfrugallife@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at lolasfrugallife. And you can find a blog post for most of my episodes and definitely all of my meal plan episodes at lolasfrugallife.com. You can also join our private listeners group at facebook.com/groups/lolasfrugallife. And if you enjoy the show, please make sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen from. And I would love it if you would screenshot the show and tag me on Instagram so I could see you're listening. Also, if you can please take a couple of seconds to rate and review the podcast, those ratings and reviews are what help the show come up better in search results so that other people can find this podcast. So that will really help me in growing my audience. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have an awesome day.